Don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Now, what did Jesus mean when he was talking about this? Let's find out.
Hear that trumpet sound, Jericho go down. He gave me the gift of gab, yeah, my gift is found. Yeah, I talk too loud, but don't call me proud. Only boast in the spirit, watch it summon now.
Welcome to the Gift of Gab. I'm just CJ. A problem that we have as human beings, we are looking for a sense of worthiness. We often look for glorification from others. And here's why this can be very dangerous. So when you do things like praying, fasting, giving to the needy, all of these things, God said to do it in secret, right? You don't have to broadcast your self-righteousness, because if you have to broadcast it to let other people know that you're righteous, then it's not righteous. Like, it's the most ironic thing ever. You are trying to show off your righteousness to other people, which is unrighteous. So you put in all this effort to look good, when in all reality, while you're doing that, the act itself is actually evil. Anything that God says that you go against is evil. Just simply put, what God says is good, and the opposite of that is just straight evil. Let's talk about giving to the needy. Today we have modern day practices that people do with their cameras. You'd see a guy walk inside McDonald's and buy about 50 Double Macs and have a camera crew with him going around town just feeding the homeless. If it was really out of sincerity, if you were really genuine, you wouldn't have a camera to record it so that you can post it on social media. That is not how God intended it to be. You're doing it to show off your self-righteousness, which is in of itself is evil. Let's go to Matthew chapter 6, verse 1-4. This is Jesus talking. Be careful not to practice your righteousness in front of others to be seen by them. If you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven. So when you give to the needy, do not announce it with the trumpets, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues. Remember, synagogues means church. And on the streets, to be honored by others. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward in full. But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. You don't have to broadcast you giving to the needy. You ain't got to record nothing. You ain't got to do none of that. And when Jesus said, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, and people would often ask, how can my left hand keep a secret when my right hand is also attached to the body? Jesus was speaking from hyperbole. He's basically saying whatever you do, do it in secret, to the point where if you do something with your left hand, your right hand doesn't even know about it, even though it's attached to your body. That's how low-key Jesus wants you to be when you're doing righteous things like these. So when he says, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, he's basically saying, just keep it secret. Like, do what you do it with a genuine heart, and just move on. Don't be like, hey, like, did you guys see what I did? I just gave somebody $100. I didn't have to do that. Like, could you please clap for me, please? No, that is not what he wants. Like, no. As a matter of fact, again, like I said, if he's telling you to do it in secret and you don't, and you're looking for self-recognition, or should I say you're showing off your righteousness to others, that's evil. Now, let's talk about prayer. Jesus talks about prayer in the same rhetoric. Y'all ever been in church and you have that one person that prays for like 25 minutes, like a long extended prayer? Now, I want to be careful when I say this. It all depends on the heart. Matthew chapter 6, verse 5-8. And when you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by others. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward in full. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. And when you pray, do not keep on babbling like pagans, for they think they will be heard because of their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need even before you ask him. Ain't God good? Right? If you feel like you have all this to say, then by all means say it. If you're doing it for the sake of others seeing you as quote unquote righteous, God is looking at you like, bro, like you put in the front, like you showing off for who? For who? I already know what your motive is. You're lying to yourself and you're lying to them. In prayer, we ought to pray with a genuine heart. You don't have to have a PhD in English to know how to pray to God. Just pray with a genuine heart and with sincerity. That's all he asks. Now, let's move on to fasting. It's the same thing. This is all in Matthew chapter 6. Jesus is basically saying, don't practice your self-righteousness in front of everybody. Matthew chapter 6, verse 16 to 18. When you fast, do not look somber as the hypocrites do, for they disfigure their faces to show others that they are fasting. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward in full. But when you fast, put oil on your head and wash your face, so that it will not be obvious to others that you are fasting, but only to your Father who is unseen. And your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. When you fast, don't make it look like you're fasting. Smile, laugh, have a regular conversation to your coworker like you would if you're not fasting. Don't share that you're fasting. That's between you and God. Your prayers are between you and God. You giving to the needy is between you and God. The things that Jesus is saying to keep secret, he's saying it for a reason. Those activities, those things are between you and God. If you're married, obviously, you share that with your spouse. If you're single, keep it secret. That's between you and your Father. This is the attitude that Jesus wants us to adopt as believers. Let's go to Luke chapter 17, verse 7 to 10. This is Jesus speaking to his disciples. Suppose one of you has a servant plowing or looking after the sheep. Will he say to the servant when he comes in from the field, "Come along now and sit down to eat"? Won't he rather say, "Prepare my supper, get yourself ready and wait on me while I eat and drink"? After that you may eat and drink. Will he thank the servant because he did what he was told to do? So you also, when you have done everything you were told to do, should say, "We are unworthy servants. We have only done our duty. I am an unworthy servant. I have only done my duty." Just adopt that kind of thinking. It takes humility, all right? And some people just don't have it. Some people just can't do this, bro. Like everything they do, they just have to broadcast. And check out Paul. Look how Paul describes himself. He wrote most of the New Testament. But look how he describes himself. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 9 to 11. For I am the least of the apostles and do not even deserve to be called an apostle, because I persecuted the church of God. But by the grace of God, I am what I am, and his grace to me was not without effect. No, I worked harder than all of them, yet not I, but the grace of God was with me. Whether then it is I or they, this is what we preach, and this is what you believe. Paul is basically saying, I'm the least of all. Look how much humility, bro. Like, you could just tell somebody's really for God. Just check the humility. If they keep pointing you to them, no. If they keep pointing to Jesus, you doing good, you doing this, you such a good guy. All the compliments that you give them, they're gonna shrug it off and point you right to Jesus. That lets you know that they actually love God. My final point, no one is righteous. So you could try and show off your righteousness, show off, oh, I'm a good person. Nope. First of all, everybody's a sinner. Everybody is evil at heart. All right? Let's go to Romans chapter 3, verse 9 to 18. There is no one righteous, not even one. There is no one who understands. There is no one who seeks God. All have turned away. They have together become worthless. There is no one who does good, not even one. Their throats are open graves. Their tongues practice deceit. The poison of vipers is on their lips. Their mouths are full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Ruin and misery mark their ways, and the way of peace they do not know. There is no fear of God before their eyes. Just stop practicing your righteousness for everybody to see. How about you practice in front of God and in front of God only? Because when you don't get an applause or a pat on the back for the things that you do, and you keep on doing it just because of your heart, that's when you know it's genuine. So yeah, those people that you see babbling in church with these long, lengthy prayers, I'm not saying all of them are evil, but if they are doing it to show that they are righteous, then it's evil. If you're showing off that you're feeding 500 homeless people and it's on camera, it's evil. If you are fasting and you broadcast it to your friend group, it's evil. So yes, do these things in secret and your Father who sees it in secret will reward you. That's what Jesus said. You calling Jesus a liar? Don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. This is it for this video. I'm just CJ, and this is the gift of gab. Peace.
Son and Holy Spirit, forbidden fruit I bit it. I asked for forgiveness, he said yes, it ain't no limit. To his grace, I'm dripping in my faith. He rose up out the grave, salvation not delayed.